What comes to your mind when I say a narcissistic romantic relationship? Possibly a heterosexual couple, a relationship between a man and a woman. But that is not always the case. Many people, many survivors assume that they only target potential romantic partners who match their stated sexual orientation. But this is dangerously wrong. Narcissists can and will target anyone regardless of gender or sexual orientation because their primary drive is not genuine attraction or love. It is the relentless pursuit of narcissistic supply. I've talked about it before. They do not have an authentic self, which means they do not also have a sexual self. And that makes them psychological chameleons capable of adapting to whatever persona will secure them the most supply from their chosen target. I'm Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Welcome to my channel. The topic for today's episode is how narcissistic straight men specifically target gay men for supply. Their targeting is calculated, methodical, and devastatingly effective because these predators understand that many gay men tend to be naturally nurturing, empathetic, and generous with their emotional energy. These very qualities that make someone a wonderful partner also make them prime targets for narcissistic exploitation. What makes this even more disturbing is that these predators are not just betraying one person. While a narcissistic man may be manipulating and exploiting a gay man for supply, he may also be simultaneously maintaining a marriage or a relationship with a woman who may have no idea whatsoever what's happening. Such men keep their wives and partners trapped in complete delusions, believing they are in safe, committed relationships, while their narcissistic husbands are openly cheating and emotionally abusing other people. People they say they have zero sexual interest in. The crazy part is children are also involved. Families are destroyed, and in the most extreme cases, targeted victims also lose their lives through systematic psychological destruction. I will share real life examples with you, so stay until the very end and make sure to subscribe before we go deeper into the con. Let me begin with an example that still haunts me from my practice. During a session years ago, a narcissist who insisted he was completely straight and married told me with chilling matter of factness about how he deliberately targeted and married a wealthy gay man. He explained how he had researched this man's background, learned about his vulnerabilities, and crafted an entire false identity to secure access to his money. The marriage was not about love or even attraction. It was a business transaction disguised as romance. This narcissist had extracted significant sums from this victim while maintaining his straight identity in his mind and to his wife, viewing the entire relationship as nothing more than an elaborate con game. This man had a wife at home, a woman who believed she was in a committed marriage, probably defending her husband to everyone who may have questioned his behavior. She had no idea that her entire life was built on a lie, that her husband was capable of this level of deception and manipulation. This illustrates something extremely important about narcissistic targeting that we need to accept and understand. These individuals do not see people as human beings with feelings and needs. They see them as a means to an end, resources to be exploited. When a narcissist identifies a gay man as a potential source of supply, they begin what can only be described as a psychological hunting process. And the selection criteria are disturbingly specific. These predators target gay men who have experienced historical discrimination, social isolation, or family rejection. They look for men who may be more cautious about coming out in certain environments, those who have faced workplace discrimination, or individuals who simply have not had many opportunities for authentic romantic connections. They understand that someone who has been starved of genuine acceptance and love will be more susceptible to their manipulation tactics. One of the most thoroughly documented cases of this targeting behavior involved a person named Frederick DG and Rachel Johnson. who operated a 16-year romance fraud scheme specifically targeting gay men. Over nearly 2 decades, they defrauded 179 victims of over £426,000. That is roughly $530,000. But you know what? The financial damage was only part of the devastation they caused. DG's method was textbook narcissistic manipulation, but these predators use a particularly aggressive type of love bombing when targeting gay men. Within hours of making contact with the victim, he would send intimate photos and declare profound feelings like they all do. Messages like, "You are the kind of man I have been searching for all my life," became his signature technique. This was not spontaneous romance, it was calculated psychological warfare designed to overwhelm the victim's rational thinking processes. And think about this, while DG was sending these intimate messages to multiple gay men, creating these elaborate fake relationships, what was happening in his real life? Was there a woman somewhere who thought she knew who this man really was? This is the level of compartmentalization these predators are capable of. Now, what makes this targeting particularly cruel is that these narcissists understand something profound about human psychology. If you can trap someone in the web of what they believe is love, you gain access to unlimited emotional, financial, and psychological resources. The victim does not just hand over money, they hand over their entire sense of self worth and reality. In the DG case, one victim named Alan Baldwin sent £1,500 monthly for 15 years. 15 years, like a mortgage payment. Even after police informed him he was being scammed, he continued to believe the relationship was real. When interviewed, he still referred to his scammer as a good friend. That is the depth of psychological manipulation. You may wonder, what is the narcissist's goal in all of this? It's not just financial extraction, it's complete psychological control. They want their victim to prioritize the fake relationship above everything else: family relationships, friendships, financial security, even personal safety. This creates trauma bonding. You already know about that, where the victim becomes addicted to the intermittent reinforcement of affection and manipulation. And in some of the most extreme cases we are seeing, the psychological control becomes literally life threatening. There are documented cases of narcissistic predators who systematically target older, lonely gay men, gain their trust and access to their finances, get themselves included in wills, and then through various means ensure that a victim do not live to see another year. This is not conspiracy theory material. This is happening, and it's happening more often than people want to acknowledge. Many narcissistic men who target gay men use what I call plausible deniability as their primary weapon. They engage in behaviors that cross every boundary between friendship and romance while maintaining that just being friendly or just helping out. This gaslighting technique is particularly effective because it makes the victim question their own perceptions and desires. So, what does this look like in practice? The narcissist may send good morning and good night texts every day, share intimate details about their life, ask for emotional support during a manufactured crisis, request financial help for emergencies that never quite add up, and even engage in sexualized conversations, all while insisting they are completely straight and just value the relationship. When the victim expresses confusion about mixed signals, the narcissist responds with hurt and indignation. "I thought you were my friend. What are you even talking about? You're so weird. You're making this weird." This creates a devastating psychological trap. The victim begins to doubt their own perceptions and feelings. They think, maybe I am reading too much into this. Maybe I am being inappropriate. Maybe I should just be grateful for his friendship. Meanwhile, the narcissist continues to extract emotional energy, financial support, and ego validation while giving nothing genuine in return. And remember, while this is happening, this same narcissist is probably going home to a wife who has no idea about any of this. He's compartmentalizing his life so well, so completely that he can manipulate and emotionally abuse someone all day, then walk through his front door and play the role of a devoted husband. The level of deception required for this is staggering. In the documented cases, perpetrators maintained detailed notes about each victim's personal history, family relationships, financial situation, and emotional vulnerabilities. They would reference these details months later to create the illusion of genuine intimacy and connection. One victim reported that his friend remembered the anniversary of his mother's death and sent supportive messages, except the narcissist only knew this information because he had written it down in his victim database. This is the level of calculation we're dealing with. These are not crimes of passion or opportunity or just going for a hole. This is systematic psychological warfare designed to extract maximum supply while maintaining complete deniability. What is particularly chilling about these cases is their systematic nature. The DG operation involved creating fake death certificates, travel documents, inheritance papers, and legal documents. They maintained different personas, can you believe that, across multiple victims, sometimes running dozens of fake relationships simultaneously. This wasn't a crime of passion. The perpetrators even recorded voice messages coaching each other on manipulation techniques. You send love messages first, then ask for money. Later, say your mother has gone to hospital, say it's cancer. Then you say your mom has died. They treated human suffering as a script to be performed for maximum financial extraction. This level of organization reveals something evil. Narcissistic people are demons, right? They view their victims as objects in a video game, not as human beings. Each successful manipulation gives them narcissistic supply, which you know the feeling of power, control, and superiority they crave. The victim's pain is a side effect of their behavior. It's often the entire point. In some of the most disturbing cases, these predators do not just want the victim's money. I know what I'm talking about may sound extreme, but this is documented reality. These cases exist in court records and police files. We cannot turn a blind eye to this because it makes us uncomfortable. This is real. It's happening right now, and it has been happening for decades. The targeting of gay men is not coincidental, it is strategic. Many gay men have experienced rejection, discrimination, or family estrangement related to their sexual orientation. This creates specific vulnerabilities that narcissistic predators learn to exploit. First, there is the hunger for acceptance and belonging. Someone who has been rejected by family or society for who they are naturally will be more susceptible to someone who claims to offer unconditional acceptance and understanding, won't they? The narcissist presents themselves as the first person who truly gets them. This is beyond mirroring, creating an artificial sense of uniqueness and specialness in the relationship. Second, there is the isolation factor. A lot of gay men, particularly older ones, or those in less accepting communities, may have smaller social networks or fewer people they can confide in about relationships. This isolation makes it harder for the person to reality check concerning behaviors, basically see red flags or get support when they start feeling confused or taken advantage of. Third, there is the intersection with internalized shame. Some gay men carry internalized negative messages about their worth or lovability. A narcissist who seems to offer genuine affection and acceptance can feel like proof that they are worthy of love. And the other factor is that narcissistic people can go for anybody, like I have described it before. It does not matter. And these people happen to come in the way. That is how they see it. Once trapped, it's the same story, like how they abuse other people. You stop trusting your own judgment. You start questioning every interaction, wondering if kindness is genuine or manipulation. A lot of people develop betrayal trauma, which you know is a specific type of psychological injury, moral injury that occurs when someone we depend on for safety and security violates that trust. In the documented cases, these victims reported that the relationship loss felt more devastating than the financial loss. Some stated that they would pay to have the fake relationship continue, even knowing it was not real. And you blame yourself. This is exactly what people do out of pain, out of grief, when they are deeply trauma bonded, when they are shook to their core and they cannot accept that what happened to them happened in reality. It felt so good, it felt so real. And the reality is that it was all a lie. It's not that easy to accept. So you see how demonic it is. I've said it so many times. It's not that narcissists are actually demons in a literal sense. Their actions make them demonic in nature. They do evil things, which is why we have to call them evil. And the evil things they do are criminal. A lot of times they get punished. The only thing that does not happen is they do not see it in the light of narcissistic abuse, and they're not called narcissists, which I think should also change, must happen, because when you understand it in the right context and you call a spade, of course you will understand that this person is not capable of change, and then they will get the punishment they deserve. Let me know if you have experienced something like this in the comments below. Most people do not talk about it, but if you want to, I would really appreciate it, because your comments, your experiences may help many who may need some validation. With that, let's bring this episode to an end. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.